It's Traumedy Tuesday. You are listening to Traumedy, the podcast that shows us how to take our pain and play with it. I'm your host, Nancy Norton. I'm a comedian, I'm a former nurse, I'm studying therapeutic humor, and I am also a trauma survivor, and I want you to know you're not alone. That's the main purpose of this podcast, to help people know you are not alone out there. We have been through some stuff. You've been through some stuff. We can show each other how to get through it. This is peer-to-peer learning. I'm not an expert, but I'm a speaker. I talk about the power of humor, why we need it, why it should be a higher priority. Humor helps us heal. It bonds us with others. It gives us resilience and much, much more. Make humor a higher priority in your day and see the results yourself. My guest this week is Zac Maas. Zac is an amazing comedian. He's a producer. He's a podcaster. He's making his headline debut at Comedy Works this week, Thursday, June 8th. And he's producing the Black Hills Comedy Festival happening in Rapid City, June 22nd through 24th. I'm excited because I am headlining on the festival along with the amazing, incredible, I can't say enough adjectives in front of the name, Sam Talent. If you don't know Sam Talent, this guy is the comedian's comedian. He's phenomenal. Go to the Rapid City Comedy Festival. We're going to have a blast. Come join us. Oh, the other thing you need to know on this episode, Zac, he just drops a lot of F-bombs. So if F-bombs, if you know what I mean by an F-bomb, if you don't like the word fuck, then this episode is not for you. This is an uncensored podcast. We want people to feel free to speak their truth the way they speak their truth. And that's what we're doing here on Traumedy. Peace and love, everybody. Enjoy this episode with Zac Maas. We are on Traumedy, the podcast with Zac Maas.
Howdy.
Howdy, Zac. You have a podcast, Hippie No Hippie, with AJ Finney. Is this correct?
Yeah, hippie, not hippie.
Hippie, not hippie.
Yeah. But,
not hippie, no hippie. Hippie, not hippie.
But hippie, no hippie. And now I'm like, damn it. That would have been shorter. That would have been a shorter name. We should have maybe gone with hippie, no hippie.
Could have saved a lot of room on the T-shirt.
Yeah, fucking T though. We had to put that T in there on the knot. But yeah, I do a podcast with AJ. He's a hardcore hippie. I'm a secret hippie, I guess, according to as we've been doing this podcast. Yeah, apparently I'm
your secret. Your secret's out.
I'm a member of the counterculture and I have long hair. And I smoke weed, but other than that,
hippie-ish.
I mean, I don't like the crystal thing. I don't like I'm very sensitive nose. I don't like the Nag Champa or the patchouli or
dude, I cannot hang with the patchouli either.
Or just Palo Santo wood smells like burnt hair to me. I really don't like
burnt hair
jam band music either. I don't like hippie music. AJ is taking me to the Grateful Dead in June, and you are ungrateful. Well, and I found out the other day that the show is like 8 hours long, and I was like, and he's so jazzed, like he'll go watch these jam bands for 8 hours a day for like 3 days in a row and love every minute of it. And I was like, dude, I was like 2 hours at anything. I'm fucking ready to go home, man. And he's like, no, man, like even your favorite band. And I'm like, even my favorite band, I watched Paul McCartney play for 3 hours and that was pretty awesome. But and he's literally playing the Beatles
the
hits.
Long and Winding Road. Okay, we're halfway through that song. You're like, it's too long. It's too winding.
Yeah, he played for 3 hours and I was like, this is great, but I'm glad I get to go home. I like myself.
Yeah. And my own time. I'm the same way. I think about intermission. I'm really torn at intermission, whether I want to. I think also, do you have ADHD? I have ADHD.
I do have ADHD.
Man, it's just so hard to be anywhere for that long sitting. And unless you're actively doing something. But maybe.
Yeah, I guess I forget that they like dance to this music. Like.
Yeah.
Looks more like an acid spasm to me, but I guess it's dancing. But
that's a new term for me. You're teaching me new terms and everything. Acid spasm.
Acid spasms? Yeah, that's a word I just made up. So, like, yeah.
I like the acid spasm. I'm having an acid spasm as opposed to an ass spasm. Have you ever had an ass spasm?
I have.
Yeah, those are.
I've been having back spasms, like, because it's been so cold, where all of a sudden I'm just like, ah!
Let's listen to this bit. We're gonna go in depth. What's behind the funny? So this is what we do on Traumedy, is we take a bit and it's funny and people laugh, but may not know what is behind this that needs such a big release. Because this is a bit with a huge release at the end. And you might be surprised to find out what is behind this particular bit.
I used to work in the marijuana industry, surprise. One of my favorite things about working in that industry is I got to see all the new products when they came out, try all the new stuff. But one of the weird ones I ever saw was a marijuana sexual lubricant that had the boldest claim of any product I've ever seen in my life. They claimed that with proper use of this lube, that a woman could have a 15-minute orgasm. Yeah. Silence and fear for most of the women in the room. One woman up here's like, hell yeah, nice. She's talking to her friend. I mean, I'm sure it starts out great. You know, I'm sure it's good at first. You know, it's like, oh boy, oh yeah, oh boy, how much time is left? What, 14 minutes and 30 seconds? Oh no, it's getting stronger. It's getting stronger. Get your fucking hands off me. Get your hands off me. Don't you fucking touch me. Oh my, how much time is left? 14 minutes? Fucking dial 911. Dial 911. What, you're too embarrassed? You're too embarrassed to that fucking phone. Get that fucking phone. 911. 911, I guess I'm calling. I guess I'm calling 911. Oh my God, Mom, sorry. Wrong number, I'll call you on Sunday.
That was hilarious.
So I did own a dispensary. I opened, I think it was like one of the first 10 dispensaries in the state. I think we were the 7th in Denver or something like that. Maybe the 9th.
What year would that be?
This would be 2009.
Wow. And you were the Budtender.
Well, I owned it. I was the master grower. I was also a Budtender. So what happened is I was a homeless street musician in San Francisco. I was playing music. I wanted to be a musician, and I talked to a friend who was like, hey, if you want to grow weed, I will buy a house for you to live in. You grow weed in the basement, and we split it 50-50.
So you're talking to this friend. This is in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you're homeless and ready to buy.
Well, yeah, I'm like, oh, so a whole house that's mine, and make, with how much pot we were going to be growing, because we were going to grow 99 plants, because over 100 is a big step up in the felony level of growing marijuana, or it used to be. This is still totally illegal.
Yeah, because on a federal level, isn't it still illegal on a federal level?
Yeah. So
this is before it was legal. All right, sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
But yeah, I was going to make like $120,000 a year and have a free house to live in, and that sounded pretty good after being homeless in San Francisco for a while. So I came back, started growing the pot, and I smoke the pot too, so it was crazy because growing up in South Dakota, I was always paranoid in smoking marijuana or in the cops or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Colorado where they didn't give a shit, and then it was decriminalized like almost right after I moved here, I think. So I was like, oh, cool, I don't have to. It was this big weight off my shoulders and stress. Then I started growing. When you have 100 plants in your basement, you notice every fucking helicopter that flies over your house.
I bet.
Every sound you hear, like if a bunch of car doors slam, all of a sudden you're like, it's fucking happening.
It's where it's going down.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan? Like when you think about that, did you have like an exit strategy, or here's what I'm going to do? If I hear the pops or the whatever.
I mean, if
did you have
once
a plan?
you hear that, there's nothing you can do other than get a fucking lawyer. I mean, that's the
so
plan.
you didn't have a plan.
Yeah, there's no once they start trying to ram the door down, I have it barricaded and I'm gonna flush all the weed down the toilet. I mean, we're talking.
Yeah.
But
and then you're smoking it. So you're not as paranoid because it's a little friendlier place.
I'm paranoid as fuck once I started growing weed in my basement.
You were, even in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay, and then you're doing, was this like quality assurance? This is a good one,
Oh, it was really good weed. The first strains I grew were strawberry cough and grapefruit.
Oh.
Which are kind of classics. They, as I say them now, they sound like they're like retro strains almost.
Yeah, man. I'm out of the pot loop, so I never heard of those strains, but it sounds lovely. Is
this a pot-friendly garage here?
Oh, it's very pot-friendly. Are you going to smoke?
I might a little during the show just because that's, I'm a fan. But
you can smoke.
So anyways, I get this. I go back. I start growing the pot. And I read an article in the Westward that says there's this guy in the Springs that owns a dispensary. The cops know about it. Everybody knows about it. He's found a loophole that he's using to operate through this attorney, Warren Edson. And he made $1 million last year is basically what this article says. And I go to my friend who I'm doing this with, and I'm like, man, this would be nice if I didn't have to worry every time a fucking helicopter flew over my house, because I start looking into this shit. And he's like, yeah, this is really interesting. Let's set up a meeting with this Warren Edson lawyer fella.
Yeah, Warren Edson, if you're out there.
He's still out there. He's in Colorado. He's ran for the city council. I mean, he's a part of Colorado culture, I think. So we go and meet with him, and he's like, yeah, there's still a ton of risk, but, he's like, really, they're afraid to do this because, under the way that we have everything set up with the caregiver, there's like a loophole where you're kind of protected by this amendment. So at that point, we're like, fuck it, we're going to do it. We started looking for a place that would be willing to do it as well, because it's all great when you're like, yeah, I'm going to open a dispensary. Then you have to go talk to a business owner, like somebody who owns a storefront, and be like, hey, we'd like to rent your space. Oh, well, what are you going to do in our space? We're going to sell weed,
that early people. Yeah. Challenge. And banking is also another issue.
Well, banking wasn't a problem back then. That came later because they weren't really onto it at first. So, I mean, the first few months we had credit card processing, we had banks, we had everything. And we had a bank for a long time after that because we just lied. We said we were a DBA, and we said our business was Prodigy Resources, and, we were just full of shit, and, what was great about being Prodigy Resources too was that it was there's a staffing company with the same name. So even though the LLC had nothing to do with them, when the banks would go to look it up and be like, we're getting like all these credit card payments, they're making a lot of money. What is this business? They would go look, and that would come up. And I think that was just a serendipity. You didn't plan that. It just happened to be like that. That's so cool. We finally find a building, and me and two other partners go in on this business together. I'm working my way in with sweat equity because I'm, I basically was homeless like 6 months ago. So I work my way in with sweat equity. Another guy works his way in with sweat equity. And also he was just kind of the guy that was willing to put his name on the lease and the paperwork and, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's willing to kind of put his neck on the line a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if shit would have really hit the fan, he kind of would have been the fall guy, was kind of his main purpose. And then my buddy had the money. We get everything ready to launch. We do launch. The day before we open the store, my buddy who, had gotten the house, who I opened the business with, we'd been friends since I was kids. Him and his wife got married, and I think it was like the day before his wedding, the cops came and talked to him he had been buying other houses with other people growing weed in them. He'd set up other grow operations in houses that other people owned and stuff. And some of them got busted. They all rolled on him.
Oh.
And then there was this other guy that got busted for, I think he was robbing pharmacies.
Was he living at one of the houses?
No, he wasn't. He was just a guy that, my buddy like would do some business with or whatever. But this guy got busted for robbing pharmacies. And then he rolled. And he basically hit up my buddy who didn't even sell ecstasy or whatever. But he's like, hey, can you get me some ecstasy pills? Because that's what the cops wanted, I guess. So my buddy was just like, yeah, I don't really do that or anything, but I'll ask around and see if I can find some for you. And he wanted, like hundreds. And my buddy was trying to find him hundreds of them. And he ended up finding, I think, 6 of them. And he sold the guy 6 of them, but the guy wore a wire. And so they got him with that. Then there was like, basically like, so yeah, shit kind of hit the fan and we were like, oh, fuck. And it was literally right before the store opened, the day before his wedding. He just went through his wedding and like, things were okay. And,
but that wire, the transaction happened the day before his wedding.
No, the transaction didn't happen. I think they were like, hey, we have you on tape doing this. And like, I think they maybe came and arrested him and he bailed out or something. Like something happened.
The day before his wedding, he got the bad
like
news.
Shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
It was a very close proximity. And I can't remember if it was maybe right before or right after, but it was like within a few days. So we were like, oh shit, but lawyers, good lawyers, get through this. And then they made a law where if you had a felony, you could not be involved in the industry anymore, which really sucked because all of a sudden, my buddy had to plead to, like, he took a plea deal so that he would and did a few days in jail and whatever, but he is a felon, and so he wasn't allowed to own it. They also came out with a law at the same time that you needed to grow 70% of your own weed. So up until then, as soon as weed touched a person's hand who owned a dispensary, like it was illegal, but as soon as it touched my hands, it became legal. That wasn't allowed anymore. They wanted to track it and regulate it and all of that. So all of a sudden we needed to, we were producing, I think maybe a 20th of the weed, in that house basement.
Yeah. And suddenly you got to be a grower now and you got to show the paper trail or the weed trail.
And we needed a lot of money. So unfortunately, what happened is there was this patient that had been coming into our store that, was like, I want to get involved in this industry. And then it was kind of like, well, we need some money. And his dad was worth like $135 million.
Very nice.
Yeah, well, you'll see. But
it sounds nice. Let's just say that.
They're from Texas. And his dad actually is a very nice, he started with nothing and built that money. It's not like he inherited it or whatever. He was the first generation that built that wealth. It's his son that was the huge piece of shit.
Well, that's the way it is.
So this guy is his name, but he basically is like, I want to get into this. So him and I partnered up, and it sucked because my buddy kind of wanted me to. I don't know. It's like he couldn't be involved. It was very kind of scary to be involved anyways in this industry. Like there was times when they'd be like, the DEA raided a dispensary in town, and you'd be like, fuck, are they coming here next? Like, should we stay open? Or a lot of times it was because they were doing illegal shit, like trying to, use the law as a cover. But,
yeah. Okay. But it kept you on edge.
Well, ended up buying out Matt and Steve and then building a grow in exchange for 51% ownership of the company. And then I took 49. So he had his control or whatever. Over the next 3 years, it was just the beginning of a very abusive relationship. Very charming person. One of the things that he'll immediately do with anybody he meets is he'll buy stuff for you. Like if you're out, he'll buy all your drinks. He'll buy.
It's like a mini version of love bombing in any relationship with a sociopath or a person with a psychopath. Personality disorder like that.
Yeah, he'll pay for everything. He'll compliment you. He's very charming, and he'll become your friend. You think,
Yeah. And I'm sure he's highly intelligent.
Yeah. Good looking guy, highly intelligent. And so he'll buy everything for you and do all that until he needs something from you. I thought we were going to be partners and that we were going to be like running this business together and that he would be doing the books, I would be doing the growing, but that didn't happen at all. He also is an alcoholic, or was an alcoholic. So basically what he would do is he would just spend all day at the bar buying people drinks. He would also take the employees to the bar for lunch and buy them drinks. And then meanwhile, he'd be like, we're having financial problems at the store because they changed the laws at the so that you couldn't accept paperwork. You needed the actual red card, but the state was 9 months backed up on sending out those red cards.
So you couldn't just show, look, I've got this prescription coming.
Yeah, and you used to be able to do that, and then the state was like, you're not allowed to do that. If you do, you're going to get in trouble. And we were like, so we turned away 90% of our patients. They're like, the place down the street is accepting it. Fuck you guys. We lost so much business, and those people never came back. And we were like, well, we'll get them back when they shut down the store that's doing the illegal thing down the street. But they never enforced that. They never did shit about it. And really everybody who did the wrong thing during that time gained a huge market share. And it pushed a lot of the people that were doing the right thing out of the industry. And that's also a time when I learned that really, I read an article the other day where they were like, there's a intelligence gap between like the most successful people and the people below, where the people below them are actually more intelligent than they are. And they're like trying to figure out what it is. And it's like, I can tell you exactly what it is. It's a lack of morals.
Yeah.
That makes people very successful at business.
Yep. And that's sort of true in anything. Also, like if you're the pioneer and you do all the legwork and the groundwork and you figure something out, and then somebody comes behind you, like in our business, quote unquote, business comedy, the hacks come along, take your jokes and do them better. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but back in my day, people would take my bits, do them on TV, and then you're like, and they did them better than me too. It hurt so bad.
Yeah. So, the store was suffering, and for years, he would blame me that I wasn't working hard enough, that I wasn't doing this. I was working my fucking ass off, that I was lazy, that I wasn't pulling the shit off. And, I didn't handle the books, but I would do all this work and I'd like see sales increase and I would see stuff happen. And yet we would still be struggling. And we would still be struggling, even though like things were getting better and better. And, so one day I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. And I went through all the books and, just acted like he had money. And he's like, I don't even take a salary. He didn't work at the store. He wasn't a manager, but he's like, I'm not even taking any money. But then he would spend money on like meals and shit like that and stuff for these people. And I'm like, we can't really do this. So I was like, how much is he spending? And I went and looked, and he was embezzling a lot of fucking money.
Yep. And one of the things with sociopaths, by the way, is one of the first things, if something doesn't make sense, that's one of the markers too. It's like, things just don't make sense. Like what? Because you can't imagine doing what he did. So it's just so disorienting.
Oh, yeah. Well, no. And I mean, this is a person that's like, oh, I love you like a brother. You're like family to me. I love you, and you're, and then like, but then coming down on me like I'm fucking everything up at the store, when in reality, the whole reason everything's fucked up is because you're embezzling and you're not doing anything.
You're not contributing anything but the original investment, I guess.
Yeah. So I go and I confront him and I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, fuck you. You're taking a shitload of money, man. Like, this is the fucking problem here. All of this, you're fucking embezzling, dude. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, fuck you, hangs up on me. And the next morning I get up to go into my store and all of the locks are changed.
Oh.
This is 5 years after 2009. This is in 2014. So, I mean, there was years of dealing with this shit and this fucking abuse. And then, all the locks are changed. And he goes, fuck you. I have the contract. I mean, this is such a long, thick story. I can't even really get into the lies and manipulation over the years of the stuff he did. Also, it was constantly like, my dad's pissed at you. My dad wants to kick you out of the business. My dad wants to do all this stuff. I never talked to his dad. When I finally talked to his dad, he was projecting everything his dad was saying to him onto me.
Uh-huh.
And his dad, like when I finally talked to his dad breaks down in fucking tears and starts crying. He's like, my son is just such a fucking piece of shit. He's like, I've literally handed him everything his whole fucking life. I've given him so many great opportunities because he owned a big electric company in Houston. And, he made his son like a project manager on a fucking skyscraper build. That's a really good job. You make a ton of money. But what he did there was the same thing he did at my store. He finds somebody smart and capable. The number two, he puts all of his responsibility onto them, and then he was going and getting fucking drunk all day, or fucking sleeping, or fucking, he's not doing shit. And the number two guy is doing all the work, which is exactly what he did to me. He put all the work on me, and it turns out he had done this multiple times.
This is his pattern.
And his dad had given him, all the money for this, and once again, he'd squandered it. I told him how he was embezzling and just drinking all the time and fucking all this shit. And his dad was just like, he's still my son, but like, fuck, I could just tell how somebody who had worked for what they had, how ashamed of his son he was.
Yep.
A big red flag for me too is how men treat women. It's a major, and he was a total womanizer, liar, cheater. And I mean, if men treat women that way, it's usually universal.
Or even waiters. Do you ever notice that? How people treat a server?
Yeah. Well, his whole thing, he was great to the servers because he's being charming. But he'd also be trying to fuck. If they were a woman, he'd be trying to fuck them.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Oh, your arms look really good. You work out, don't you?" Like he'd say the cheesiest shit to people too, and it would work, and it would blow my fucking mind. But he's just such a slime ball. But yeah, so I end up having to sue him. I get these two lawyers. We settle out of court, which sucked because once the lawyers start investigating, I thought he was embezzling about $80K a year, but it turns out that he hadn't been paying a lot of the tax payments and stuff. So that the store was actually really back a shitload on taxes too because he was embezzling the tax payments. So they came to me and were like, hey, you, based on fiduciary responsibility, which is a word I learned then and wish I knew way more about when we were partners, because, even if you're a minor share, your partner still has an obligation to you. It's not like they just have control to do whatever the fuck they want. They have a fiduciary responsibility. Yeah. And they were like, you can basically take the whole store back, but, his dad's worth a shitload of money and he can buy lawyers for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And it'll probably take about 2 years or so. We're not free, just so you know. And if we lose, like for some reason, you're going to owe us money. Also, if we win 2 years down the road, based on what's going on with the taxes, it probably won't exist anymore. So you could be fighting for something so I took a minor settlement, out of court and, used that money. I had fallen in love with comedy about a year before this had happened and knew that's what I wanted to do. So I took that money and used it to live and did nothing but stand up. And by the time that money was almost gone, I was making just barely, like literally by $1 some months, enough money to pay my fucking bills and do stand up.
Stay off the streets, and you didn't go backwards. What do you think? And then this is on more of I'll go with nice spiritual crystal self here. I'm really trying to trust my path right now. And I've had, as you know, some encounters with sociopaths. I was partnered with one and absolutely handed her my durable power of attorney. And she took it and said, this means I am you. And then she did change the deed to our house, which is not honoring her fiduciary duty. But anyway, I'm just saying, even with all this injustice, I'm curious, is there any chance you see this as for your highest good?
I do. I was miserable. when I was working there, I was very depressed. I was drinking a shitload. I was overweight. I was unhealthy. And it was just so fucking sad.
And you were being abused.
And
by this guy. Like also beaten down regularly.
Well, and before this, I was free. I was a homeless street musician, and I may not have had money, but I had freedom, and I was a creative, and I was entertaining people, and I was, doing things. And then all of a sudden I became this business person for 5 years, was abused, was, lied to and manipulated.
And under all this pressure.
And then all of a sudden I tried, and I always, I still played music during this time, but I didn't have time to like go out and play or to go to the open mics. I would like bring people home from the bar and put on concerts for them at like 2 a.m.
That sounds awesome. But that probably gave you some relief at least.
It did. I mean, thank God for that outlet of, creativity or whatever. But then I found comedy, and I immediately was like, oh, this is what I wanted to do. And then I started, standing up kind of around there, and I was like, I can only be here this many hours a week,
God.
And because I need to do stand up, and that was kind of when things also became a beef, because I was like, no matter what I do here, it's not, hire somebody else to, I don't know.
There was not a winning situation that you saw. I mean, didn't matter. Is that what you're saying?
Well, and I knew that I loved comedy too, and that's what I wanted to do. So I am happy where I am now. And yes, I did have to go through that shit. Did I deserve that shit? Could I have maybe gotten here without it? I'd hope so.
I hope so too. But I've been asking my higher power this, like, do we have to suffer to grow? I don't think so, but I do think it absolutely, if you are somebody who's always looking for the answer and you're suffering, typically there's this thing called post-traumatic growth that has been documented, that people actually end up with more gifts after suffering. So I don't know. I was just curious. I look back at my trauma and I do see it as a gift, even though I don't wish it on anybody. I don't wish it on anybody to go through what you went through or I went through. But I was just curious. I like that. I just was like I wanted to hear from you if you saw it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it was good. I've also encountered some people like him since then. And I spotted them fucking right away.
Yeah, the markers.
Tell
me some of the markers. You already said them. You said how they treat a woman. Things don't make sense. I mentioned but do you get a visceral feeling? What are some of the other things?
It's just a gut feeling usually, but it's also if somebody's just like, I don't know really even how to describe it, but a lot of times what it is, well, and I say I caught it right away. I don't know if I necessarily catch it right away, but I know that once they start fucking with me, like once they flip the switch, because there's all the building and the trust building and peeling down your walls before they fucking.
So at that point, you're still trusting.
Try to fuck
most people,
you.
You're still trusting them, but once they flip that switch,
I still trust people, but yeah, and really, it's a gut feeling.
I'm thinking of my dad, Bud Norton. If it feels too good to be true,
if it feels too good to be true, and I've also read a lot, so I know there's a lot of tricks to making people like you, and things you can do to subconsciously make people trust you, or body language things or stuff like that.
How's my body language right now? Not so good, is it?
It's fine. One of them is people will is mimicry, where they'll start using similar phrases to you and move similar to you because it automatically will make you like and trust them. And I'll be like, oh, you're literally mimicking me right now. You're asking me questions in a way to try to make me like you. I don't think you're actually curious in what you're asking me, But
here's a tricky thing, though. I will say this, but I think too, what I learned in nursing school and when we did our psych rotation, but they taught us that's part of establishing rapport. There's some natural mirror neuron thing that happens where people start sitting the same way, just naturally. Or it's actually a sign of empathy too. If I yawn and then you yawn, that gets so tricky between mimicry and empathy. That's where it gets really tricky.
And to be honest, I haven't encountered a ton of these people, but the ones that I have that I've had the feeling about, it's usually been right.
I believe you. And I think the reason I do encounter them, and I learned this from the Boulder County Safe House, shout out to the Boulder County Safe House Progressive Alliance for Nonviolence. There are people like me who maybe you're raised by somebody with a personality disorder and you're trying to get that need met, and you keep going back to the poison well, trying to get that need met and convert. Like, I've tried to heal sociopaths for my whole life, and I finally am done. But I attract them out of my need. It's a weird magnetism. And anyway, I'm doing, jokes right now about trauma bonds, and I have a new dating app for codependents who want to meet sociopaths called traumabond.com. All right, so, hey, where are we in the bit?
Well, so what's funny is that a week after, I think it was literally a week after he changed the locks on me, I won the award for Westward as 2014's hottest male budtender, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And I also won the award for best named dispensary for the name I came up with for the dispensary, the Relief Center, RELEAF, play on words.
Beautiful.
And,
Relief.
Yeah, which a lot of people have stolen. And we actually own, my buddy Matt and I still own the trademark on it. So if you make a lot of money, we're going to fucking come for you.
So we hope that you do. We hope that you hacks that stole Relief make a lot of money.
But yeah, so, the joke starts off with me saying that I was 2014's hottest male budtender. And I don't talk about any of the painful stuff about that time, but
Does it dissipate? Does it help you dissipate the toxic energy around it? Because when I go back in time and I think about, like, my ex changed the locks on our house, the house I spent 5 years building this house in the mountains up here above, and then she changed the locks after doing a lot of legal weirdness similar to this, and I mean it's crushing. I mean it's so disempowering. I think the word is disempowering when somebody changes the locks on you. It's just, and not that I ever went back there. I just knew, because during the court cases of the division of property, I saw where she had changed the locks. But the idea that I could never return to this property that not only did I spend 5 years building, but that was it was named after my son, his Nepalese name, which is a House for Mr. Biswas. It's a book, but it was a house we built for him with a door hand carved in Nepal that he would walk through, a Nepalese door. And she won in court, the door, the house, everything. And I mean, I got some settlement. She would not give me that door that was made for him. Anyway, I can get into that, like, that toxic energy. But when I do jokes about it, which I do, it takes it out. Do you find a relief from it?
I do. I find a relief for it. And I still so the store's still there. It's called Simply Pure now. It's on 32nd and Tejon in Denver. And yeah, he fucked up on the taxes and everything. The state found that he wasn't in good standing to own the place, and I think he ended up selling it to them for not near what his dad had invested in it.
So he lost that business.
Here's what's crazy too is I found a buyer for the store when we were going through our dispute, where he could have made money on his dad's investment, and I could have actually got what it was worth, but he refused to do it because that just wasn't, it was like, I think he would have made like $200,000 or something, but that just wasn't very much money to him, where it wasn't even worth it, so he would rather just, I don't know. It was never his money, so I don't think he ever cared. I think at the end of the day, he's like, well, when my dad dies, I'll fucking have $100 million. So, like, why the fuck do I need to care about anything? He'll also bail me out anytime I fuck up along the way, and really all I got to deal with is that my dad thinks that I'm a worthless piece of shit, and then I can just project that onto
other people.
Yeah.
And, as much as
he was such a piece of shit, man. Like, also, one of the final straws when I like really realized like his manipulation and it was all a lie is that he had a son with this woman, and the kid, he was drinking like a whiskey Coke and he would make his drinks really strong, and the kid came in and wanted a drink. The kid's like 3.
Oh, no.
He gives it to the kid. The kid takes a sip of it and fucking throws up.
Oh.
The mom comes in and gets mad, and he starts screaming at the mom like she's like a fucking dumb bitch, you know? And they weren't together at that time or whatever, but I was like, you literally just gave a child liquor, it puked, and then you fucking screamed at his mom for getting upset. Like, you're a fucking monster.
When you said earlier how you treat, how a man treats a woman, but I'd also say how these people treat their dog, how these people treat kids, or anybody that's disadvantaged, or they abuse their power. So anyone under them, the way they treated you, even though you're just 1%, but he was, quote unquote, but he was the investor. He was like the silent partner.
He tricked me into thinking that like I didn't have any power anymore because he was 51 and I was 49. But really, I had the same goddamn power as him, unless it came to a vote on something. But still, he has an obligation to do the right thing. So like, really, I should have called him on his shit way before, but I didn't even know that I could. And that was also a thing. Is I just I don't usually take shit from anybody, and like the way that this spell was worked, it's like I took this shit for like 2 or 3 years, and I just felt like such a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and that's classic gaslighting. And they have more education a lot of times. My ex was a lawyer, and she told me, you're going to be shocked when you find out how little of this house you own. And I thought I was a 50% owner at that time, but she had changed from joint tenants, which is 50-50, to tenants in common, which is divided by percentages, and then had told me to get rid of all of my bank records, all of my sweat. I had a 3-ring binder of sweat equity of projects I had done that she's like, get rid of it, it's in the way. And I don't know why I did, because I loved kind of looking through all these projects that were very satisfying. Anyway, I know exactly that feeling of getting under a spell. You do. Yeah. You get under the spell. Because at first they come in sort of like, he came in as your savior. He likes you like your buddy.
Came in and he's acting like my buddy. He's taking me out. We're going out for drinks. We're having fun. Like we built that grow together. But when I say we built the grow together, it's like he would be involved in parts of it, but mostly he would pay people to do his part.
Share. That's the same with my ex. Even in court, she said, I invested in her and she should take care of me the rest of her life. Like, she actually thought she could buy a person. Yeah. I guess I was an indentured servant. Anyway, and at first, though, there were times, this is where it gets so confusing, because like you said, there's this sense of co-creativity. You're doing something together. I had the same sense with the house up there. I don't know. That's very parallel. And I was also thinking, my ex also, her dad had millions. And why did she want, I had all to my name was the equity in my townhouse in Boulder, maybe $200,000 to my name at that point, which I'd built that equity over 20 years. Then she wanted to take it, but it's not about the money. It was about the power. And they don't care. Like, she didn't need it. She didn't need the money. She just wanted that final, you got to stay under.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I think it still kills him that, like, because I was just like, fuck you. I confront him and everything. And I know it still kills him because I'll still get calls. He'll still try to call me sometimes, like around the holidays.
And do what?
Like, I don't think his brain can handle the fact that I fucking hate him.
So he's still trying to win you back over and convince you that he didn't do anything wrong?
I think so. Well, and it's weird because, so he did the same thing to a lot of the employees there, and he also played them against me where they were my friends, and he had them convinced that like I had fucked stuff up and was, like that was also kind of hard where like when the things ended, I would see people that knew both of us and they'd be like, oh yeah, how are things at the store? And I'd be like, I caught embezzling and fucking he changed the locks on me, and they'd be like, oh, I don't get involved in and I'd be like, I'm like, I caught him embezzling and he changed the locks on me. Like, that's not like we had a little disagreement. That's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. And people that do that say we don't want to pick sides or we don't want to get involved. This is another thing I learned from the Boulder County Safe House, is that neutrality always favors the abuser. And I had friends, and I wanted to talk about the pot bond, because I had friends that I was with in this activist theater group that were defending justice around the world, global injustices, environmental causes, all this stuff. But when it came to their own backyard, their own sister who was in their group for 15 years, and I'm telling them this shit just went down, and the safe house told me I've been with a sociopath for 11 years. They told me, I never even heard the term. I mean, I've heard of it. I thought it was for serial killers. They're like, no, there's 10% of the population are these people. These women that I'd been with for 15 years were like, don't make us choose sides. And I'm like, well, I will choose for you. I stay 2 degrees of separation from that person. I mean, I will never talk to that person again. And also people that don't know me, that I spent 15 years with, I'm done with them as well. Yeah, you go on and have other friends, because I had 3 really, really loyal friends during that time. Yeah. And she kept trying to call them and rake everybody away from me. It was really.
I mean, a lot of my old friends warned me about him, and I didn't believe them. And I even stopped one of my best friends from beating the shit out of him one night. And man, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
That's your only regret?
Oh, God, I wish I would have let him fucking thump him. But
my one regret, and then I was thinking on the traumedy side, as we edge towards closure, I don't know, how are you feeling about what you've shared so far?
I have so there is more to this story too, and I'm to a point where I was really upset about it for a while. I mean, he fucked me out of a lot of money on something that I created, and fucked me out of a lot of just my time and my mental health. And I mean, he really fucked with me for a few years.
Yeah, and it creates a lot of doubt.
And I really hated him, but I'm to a point where I understand that, hate is not good for me.
Yeah.
So I think I'm to a point where I will never speak to him ever. Like, if he tries to call me, or if I saw him in person, I'd be like, I don't like you, and I have no desire to speak with you.
I don't trust you.
Like, if he showed up to a show or something, I'd be like, dude, I'm not. Get away from me, or we're gonna have a fucking problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't, your word's no good. There's nothing you want to hear from these people, because there's no reason to talk to them.
And literally,
but don't need to give him any more bandwidth.
Anything that he would say would be manipulative, because I mean, that's just how he works.
That's it.
So, I'm to a point though where I'm ready to be like, I'm ready to forgive, but
don't
definitely forget. I'm not gonna forget.
Forget.
And he's a very not good person, and I hope maybe he's gotten some help and figured out how to not be such a piece of shit. Hopefully that fucking kid that he gave the liquor to isn't totally fucked up from his parenting.
Oh, no kidding. We'll send out a special prayer for that kid and anyone that's ever intersected with, because he caused harm everywhere he went, I promise you. And he caused shame and doubt in probably all of the girlfriends he ever had and the children he's been around. And his dad, while I do have some compassion for his dad, he also played a role, unfortunately, by not holding him accountable. But these people, I hate to tell you, I mean, it's a nice wish, a nice prayer that he got help, but they can't, they have no conscience. They have a lack of empathy. This is what I was taught by the Safe House: lack of empathy, lack of insight. They really can't do it. Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes when they go to get help, or if they go to couples therapy, it gives them arms, that's not the right word, but it gives them these tools to manipulate. They learn how to manipulate better, which is unfortunate. Anyway, I'm not saying if you're a psychopath, don't get help, but I don't know what to say. I hope, I don't know. Here's what I had an idea before we have closure. I just had this thought about a little piece of traumedy. Let's just see if anything wants to happen. No pressure. But I was thinking about greeting cards. Since he tries to contact you during the holidays, what would be let's riff about some greeting cards we could write to sociopaths, psychopath poetry we could write, or
it'd be like, dear, I'm guessing your son doesn't love you. Love, Zach.
I think that's all we needed. That was succinct. That was a really succinct card.
Most of my act is about things that happened to me that sucked at the time. Like when I got robbed at gunpoint, that sucked. When the woman punched me in the face in front of the Squire on Wu-Tang Wednesday, Christmas Eve, that fucking sucked.
So you got to listen to the whole album to hear these bits that show, because this, what we want to show people, and this is a podcast I'm hoping for lay people, not just for comedians, but for us, as we do it naturally as comedians, is take our pain and play with it. I'm hoping we show people like, look, man, if you can take something that happened to you and cartoon it and help dissipate it, and I know it doesn't replace trauma therapy, however, it does help in between therapy visits.
This is one of these podcasts where I'm going to have comics that do listen to it come up to me and be like, whoa, you lived another life, actually. We had no idea.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have no idea. And when I started comedy, I didn't even tell anybody what I did, really, because I don't know. I was trying to keep a low profile.
You just wanted to make it about comedy?
I wanted to make it about comedy. I didn't want to be like, I'm the fucking weed guy. Also, I didn't want everybody being like, sponsor my show.
Yeah. And maybe you didn't want, a bunch of people asking for buds all the time.
Yeah.
Man,
Well,
so what year did you start stand-up? 2014?
2014.
God, and you went to headlining so fast.
I started in 2013.
Wow.
And I got out of my store in 2014. So, yeah, I started in September of 2013. And February of 2014 was when he changed the locks on me. So, yeah, I think I did comedy for 5 months, and I knew it's what I wanted to do.
And you were forced into it by the higher power that locked you out of that other business.
Well, I mean, I wonder what would have happened, because ultimately I could have kept the store or sold the store for what it was worth, and then just not had to be so fucking poor for some of these years. But at the same time, I will say that being poor does fucking make you work hard.
It does. It gives you a drive.
It gives you a fucking drive, and I shout out to the comedy gods, to comedy itself, because it's so crazy that once I had no safety net really living off of comedy, how it would be like almost the 2 days left in the month, and I'd be like, I need, $60. Somebody'd be like, I've got a spot for you for $35. And I'd be like, fuck yeah. And then I'd go, and it would be a 10-minute spot, and I'd be like, can I pitch my card decks? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. And then I'd sell like 2 of them and make exactly $65 and be like walking home like,
come on, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
that's like trail magic. Have you ever heard about trail magic on the Appalachian Trail, when people are out there and they just ran out of water, and then somehow this jug of water just appears?
Really?
Trail magic, yeah. It's like comedy.
Comedy
magic. I go, no, that sounds like a hack act.
Well, no,
comedy magic act.
It's like manifesting stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I was homeless in San Francisco, that's something I found fascinating about that city. And it's very different now when I go back there, but it's still a special place. And I do think it's kind of a magical city, because at that time, it was crazy how we would just talk about, like, we need this or we want this, and like we'd be like, and it'd be little stuff. It'd be like, man, we want to smoke a joint, and we'd walk around a corner and there'd be like some guy sitting on a stair smoking a joint. We'd be like, can we hit that? And be like, oh yeah, you guys want to smoke some weed with me or whatever, or it'd be like, man, it's cold, I need a coat, and you'd walk around the corner and there'd be a box of coats, and you'd one that's really cool that you wanted, and I don't know. I feel like I've had comedy is definitely, there's just some times where I'm like, even I just lost a gig a few days ago that was going to be a big chunk of income for me when I get back from this tour. And I was like, fuck. But when I lost it, I got kind of bummed for a second, but I was like,
something will open.
It'll fucking, something will be okay. And then literally I booked it was a $2,000 gig. I booked a 1,500 and a 500 in the same week.
Yeah.
So
isn't that amazing? And I think when you're on your path,
it'd be nice to get ahead. No. Instead of always breaking even. No.
Well, okay, we're putting that out to the loving universe.
Yeah.
But seriously, when you're on your path, I guess it is metaphorical, but it's also literal when you're on the Appalachian Trail, apparently. But when you're on your path, when you're honoring whatever that calling is, whatever your purpose, I don't know. It happens. Doors just open at the right moment, and you get what you need. And I get that it's nice to have a cushion or get ahead, but somehow you have what you need. You just know you're going to have what you need.
No, and it's been weird to have that faith, but I think as I'm coming up on 40 years on the planet, which isn't a lot of years, but
not compared to old Nance.
Yeah, not compared to Uncle Nance, but in the last few years especially, I've realized, well, made it these 40 years and getting all fired up about stuff hasn't really done anything. So might as well just go with the flow and fucking deal with shit as it comes,
Yeah.
So
relax and trust.
And and if somebody starts fucking with you, stand up for yourself and
know your rights.
Don't take any shit. Know your rights. If somebody ever threatens you with a law or anything legal that you don't understand, fucking find someone that does understand it and talk to them. Ask somebody on fucking Reddit, do something. But yeah, there's fucking shitty people out there that will fucking use and abuse you. And a lot of them are handsome, charming, and
rich.
And smart.
Yeah.
So
and be willing to walk away from all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Zac. Zac Maas. You can find him at zacmaas.com.
Yeah.
zacmaas.com. And thank you for sharing your heart. And I just always enjoy visiting with you. Ever since we went on that road gig, I just love that we can talk timeless. I'm 22 years older than you, but I love that there's a timelessness of authentic connection. So thanks for sharing your authenticity. And kids, take care of yourself out there and keep laughing no matter what.
Like, subscribe to Uncle Nance's fucking podcast.
It's a fucking podcast. Traumedy.
Sorry, I swear.
Anyway, we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Love you, Uncle Nance. Thanks for having me.
Love you, Zac. Bye.
Bye.
I want to thank my guest, Zac Maas. Go to zacmaas.com, ZACMAAS. See when his comedy special is released. Remember, he's making his headlining debut at Comedy Works Downtown. That's this Thursday, June 8th, Comedy Works Downtown. Go to comedyworks.com to get tickets. I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, for producing the music for Traumedy and just for being you and bringing so much light and hilarious sarcasm into my life. Tune in every Tuesday. It's Traumedy Tuesday with Nancy Norton. Every week we have an amazing guest, and you can be a guest on Traumedy. Do you have something to share? It's peer-to-peer learning. We're learning from each other. Teach us tools. How do you get through your complex PTSD or just your pitfalls, your stresses, your embarrassments? Let's learn from each other, and let's play with each other, and let's learn with laughter. It doesn't have to be a grind. Let's make life more fun. That's why Traumedy is here. I want you to know you're not alone. People often get isolated with their trauma, and it's such a dark feeling, and energy gets stuck in your body, and we're here to help. That's what laughter can do for you. It can help you move that stuck energy out of your body and release it and transmute it with the light so that you stay well, feel resourced, and have a better life.